Hello, this is a follow-up on how to file your state taxes. I'll be doing a video on California, the state of California, and how to file your taxes, and then another one for the state of Oregon. But I wanted to go over really quick a couple things that I noticed from my first video, and that is located on my YouTube channel on how to file your federal taxes for free, the paper version. Old school way to do it. But this, I wanted to point out that I failed to mention the mailing address. So when you're done filling out your 1040 for your federal taxes, you'll need to locate the mailing address to send it to. That's very important. Don't leave that blank. But that will be located on that 1040 instruction book that I had went over on that first video. And then you'll just go literally to the back and you'll find your state in the first column, and then just go move over and find the mailing address that corresponds with that state. So I believe the second box here is for California and Oregon, and it says if you are not enclosing a check, so that means that if you're expecting a return, a refund, send it to this mailing address here. If you are enclosing a check, you have taxes that you are owed to IRS, send it to this mailing address. But all of the states will be listed on the back and the mailing address, and just write that out. Also, I had you write down your state tax withheld on a piece of scratch paper. You're not going to indicate that on your federal return on your 1040 form. Nowhere do you indicate that, but you will use that for your state return. So I had kept that piece of scratch paper, and the state tax that we had found on the W-2, of course yours is going to be different. We're going to use that here next in this video to go over how to file your California taxes. So that'll be included. Also, if you did keep a draft portion of your 1040 form, that will come in handy with filing your state taxes, because we're going to use many of the same values, numbers that we came up with from our W-2 and 1099. And so it'll just make it a little bit quicker and easier process for you to file your state taxes. All right, so let's get started in filing your California state taxes. All right, let's get started with filling out your California tax return. It's Form 540. It can be located online. Just type in California Form 540. Download the instruction manual and the tax table onto your desktop, and we're going to go through that now. So the first portion here, you're going to fill out your first name, last name, social security number, your address, your city, state, and zip code, your date of birth, any prior names that you've used. You'll want to see instructions. It says here, see instructions if you did have a prior name. Principal residence. So if your address is in the same physical residence at the time of filing, check this box. And then you can put in USA, your street address, city, state, and zip code. All right, filing status. I'm filing as single. If you are filing as married, head of household, you want to select the appropriate box. Up here it says if your filing status is different from your federal filing status, check this box here. That doesn't apply to me. All right, if someone can claim you as a dependent, you're going to select this box, and you're going to want to go through the instructions on that booklet. Here, once I download it, it's line 6. So on this booklet, the instructions, it'll go by line and give you a more detailed description of what that line's requiring from you. So you'll want to find that and go through those instructions there. All right, so I'm filing as single. If someone can claim me as a dependent, find line 6 and go through those instructions. It looks like the state of California is allowing a personal exemption credit. So I'm going to put in and follow the instructions. It says for line 7, line 8, line 9, and line 10, multiply the number you enter into the box by the pre-printed dollar amount for that line. So if I checked box 1, 3, or 4 above, enter 1 in the box. And I did, so right here, above, this is what they're referring to as above, I checked box 1, so I'm going to put 1, and then they're allowing $149 personal exemption credit. So my total is 1 times 149, which is right here. And then if you're blind or senior, you get multiple credits added to that. So you'd want to put that there. On each page for the California form, it also asks for your name and social security number. So make sure that you fill those portions out as well. And then same as the federal, if you've got dependents, if you've got children, you're going to want to put their information here. It looks like this form allows a max of 3 dependents. You may want to go through the instructions and see if the state of California allows for more than that. I'm not too familiar. So the total dependent exemptions, let's say I had 3. I would multiply 3 by the 461 exemption credit they're allowing me and put that total box in here. All right, so my total exemption credit amount, let's say if I had children and I had more credits here, I'd want to add up all of those amounts and then put the total figure here. But for me, I'm just single. It's 149 as my total exemption California credit I'm allowed. All right, and then this section, taxable income. It looks like they're not asking for my total income with my W-2 and 1099. So from that piece of scratch paper we had filled out yesterday, I had separated your W-2 wages and your 1099 wages. Here it's just asking for just what my W-2 wages are. So I'm just going to put that figure here. I don't have my 1099 wages included in here because it's not asking for that. Now on this next line, line 13, it's asking for my adjusted gross income from Federal Form 1040, line 11. And that is my total income. This is my total gross wages from my W-2 and my 1099. This is if I did use, let's say, an itemized deduction worksheet on my federal form. California has their own schedule that you'd want to fill out, and it's called Schedule CA 540. And you'd want to go through that and apply any exemptions that you may have or adjustments to your income. I know on the Schedule California 540, it's asking for your 1098 information. So if you purchased a home last year in the state of California, you're going to want to get your 1098 from your mortgage servicer provider. And it will list all of the interest and points and mortgage interest that you have paid. And you're going to want to fill out this schedule and calculate all of your credits so that you can include that on your Form 540. So that's where that section is. I don't have that. That's not applying to me. So this is my total adjusted gross income, $40,849. All right. And then we've got your deduction that California is allowing. It would be nice if that we could use the gross wages minus our federal allowed deduction, which our federal deduction amount was $14,600, and then use that net amount and then also apply the California deduction. But we are not allowed to do that, unfortunately. So we've got to start from square one with our total gross wages at $40,849 and subtract the California standard deduction because I'm not itemizing mine, and that is $5,540, which is right here. If you're married, you would just double that amount. So $5,540, line 19. Subtract line 18 from line 17. This is your taxable income. So I did that, $40,849 minus $5,540 is $35,309. That's my taxable income. Here in this next section, we've got tax. So tax, we're using the tax table that's provided by California, and that tax table is located on that website, and you can just search it as well, California tax table. My income, so the same as the federal tax tables, you're going to do the same thing. If your taxable income is at least, but not over, and you're going to scroll down and find your taxable income amount, and then move over if your filing tax status is 1 or 3 here, and then get your tax liability amount. So let me go back to my Form 540. I've got $35,309 as my taxable income. So let me go back to the tax table, and I've located already, mine lands between these two figures, 35,251 and 35,350. So that means my tax liability for the state of California is $794. So let me go and plug that in. Here, $794. That's my tax liability. Any credits that I have, you'd want to see the instructions for that. Doesn't apply to me. Subtract line 32 from line 31. That would be total credits that you would have, or exemption credits, and that would be your total tax liability. You can reduce your tax liability. You would just have to follow those instructions and figuring that out. It's not going to apply to me, so mine's staying the same number. Then it's adding all of your tax liability amounts. So if you do have a Schedule G1, and that would, I believe, apply to trusts or foreign domestic trusts that you owe taxes on, you're going to want to put that information here. You can look for line 34 in that booklet, line 34, and see the instructions for that on how to do that. Doesn't apply to me, so I'm going to ignore that box and leave it blank. Add line 33 and line 34. So that is adding up all of the taxes that you would owe and put it here in line 35. Mine's still the same number, $794. That's what I owe. All right, I'm going to move past the special credits because that's not going to apply to my situation. And then my total taxes, any other taxes, it's asking you to add up everything. So add line 48, line 61, line 62, and line 63. This is your total tax. So I'm going to put my total tax because we know that I'm skipping a lot of these boxes, but it's just going to be the same number for me, $794. That's my tax liability. There's nothing unique or special about my situation. So I know that my total tax liability is the same, $794. That's my total tax. All right, so now we're going to move on, and same thing as the federal return. We know that we've already paid state income tax for California. So that's my tax liability. That's what California is coming up with as what I owe, but I've already paid. So for my W-2, my income tax withheld was $1849, and that is the amount that I've already paid. Any other taxes and tax payments, you'd want to see the instructions in that booklet and add all of those up. You've also got an earned income tax credit, same on the federal filing that we did in the prior video. You'd want to look through the California booklet and see what they allow for the earned income credit. It's possible they also use maybe the same amount or draw in that amount from the federal earned income credit table that we went over briefly in the prior video too. I don't have that applying to me, so my tax payments that I've made for last year for my W-2 wages, these are your total payments, $1849. It's going to be the same. All right, use tax. So you'd want to go through that booklet, look up in line 91, and that would be your use tax for the year. So let me scroll down. I'm going to find line 91, and we're going to get an explanation here because it might have a table that we need to reference. So line 91, right here, use tax. It gives quite a descriptor here. So if you feel like maybe this applies to you, I would go through and read through that again, or maybe see a tax accountant to help you with the use tax. I'm going to keep it very basic. And what I'm going to do is scroll down a little bit until I find their tax table, their tax liability table, and I'm going to use my adjusted gross income. I know my adjusted gross income was located on line 19. This is your taxable income, so $35,309, and I am going to use that. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. They want your adjusted gross income. So my adjusted gross income is $40,849. So I'm going to use that and find it where it lands. It looks like it lands right in between these two figures here. My use tax liability is $4. So we're going to put $4 as my use tax, and that was on line right here, line 91, $4. All right. Now, the next section, this is asking if you had full health coverage for the full year of last year. I did, so I'm going to check that box. They may want proof of that, and your employer may give you a separate sheet for that to verify that information, or it might be check marked on your W-2 form. If I didn't have it for the full year, or I didn't have it at all, I would want to find the penalty that I need to put in box 92. So you can go through that instruction booklet for California and see instructions. locate line 92 and follow through on that portion. All right, so now this is asking for you to subtract the use tax from the taxes that you've already had withheld from your W-2 wages. Here it should be corrected, and this is going to be $18.45 is my total now new net tax payments I've already paid to the state of California. I'm going to correct it here, 18.45. And what this is saying is that, okay, I've already paid California $1,849 in income tax for last year from my W-2, but I have not paid a use tax. So they're going to ask me to subtract that because now I still owe $4. So this is my new amount that I've technically paid to the state of California already, because they're subtracting that $4 from the amount I've paid to come up with a new net amount that I've technically now paid, which is $18.45. All right, so I don't have the penalty associated with not having full health coverage for the last year. So I don't need to reduce this amount for the penalty any further. So line 95 is going to be the same. This is my total tax payments I've paid, $18.45. Now on line 97, it's asking overpaid tax. If line 95 is more than line 64, subtract 64 from line 95. So let's go back up. Line 64, this was my estimated California tax liability based on that tax table that California is saying I'm owing, just $794. I've already paid $18.45, so line 95 is more than line 64. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my calculator. I'm going to put in $18.45 because that's my new net tax payments I've already paid, minus $794, which is what California is saying I owe them. And it looks like I'm left with $1,051. So I'm going to put $1,051 are the taxes that I have now overpaid. So taking what has already been taken out of my W-2 for the income tax withheld, I've now taken out the $794 liability to the state of California that they're saying that I owe, and the $4 use tax. Now I'm satisfied. Now I'm in a situation where I've overpaid from a W-2 wages by this amount, $1,051. And this will most likely be my refund. Here, you're going to put your name, social security number on each page. And then it's asking, similar on the federal return, amount of line 97 you want applied to your 2025 estimated tax. Again, California has probably their own escrow account set up with the California Tax Authority. And they use your funds and they put them in probably a savings account and what's called an escrow account. And then they gain interest on that. That interest is not paid to you. It could be. You would want to just look into that tax authority and see what the rules are for the state of California to figure that out. But most likely not. So I am going to say that I want $0 applied to my 2025 estimated tax because I would rather have this refund to me now so that I can manage my own money. So I'm going to say $0. Overpaid tax available this year, subtract line 98 from line 97. So 0 from $1,051 is still the same, $1,051. That's my overpaid tax available to me. Tax due. So if the line 95 is less than line 64, you'd want to put that amount here. That would mean that you are deficient on the amount of taxes that were withheld from your W-2 wages, and you would owe the state of California a tax amount. Not me. I've overpaid, so I'm getting a refund. Here it's asking if you want to make any donations to any of these organizations here, and you can indicate the amount from the overpaid tax amount, how much you want to pay. I don't. I'm broke and poor, so I need my money now. So I'm going to not do that now. Hopefully one day I can afford to do that, but not today. So $1,051 is what I'm going to leave there, and I'm not going to indicate any amounts I want to donate. All right, line 111, this would be if you owe an amount. I don't owe an amount, so I'm going to leave that blank. And then it wants you to calculate your penalties if you are filing these taxes late, which please don't do because you'll get penalized for that. You're going to want to put all of that information here. That's not me. That's not applying to me. I'm just wanting a refund because I overpaid. So my overpaid amount is going to be the same, 1,051. So we're going to put 1,051 is the same. And it's asking you to add up all of these figures and saying line 99, subtract line all of these, but I know it's 0. So it's all 0, and I can go and calculate 0, 0, 0, 0 minus 1,051 is still 1,051. Here it's asking, do I want it direct deposited? I do, so I'm going to put my routing number. It's a checking account number, put my account number, and the amount I want deposited to myself, which is 1,051. If I wanted to leave that blank, I can get a mailed check. I would not suggest doing that. That's a very slow process. I would just put in your information, and they should be pretty good about putting that in direct deposit for you. All right, if you need to register as a California voter, you're going to select that checkbox here. I do because I just moved, so I'm going to put that information here. And then, do you want health coverage? If you do, yes, no, I already have my own, so I don't need to do that. All right, and then we're getting to the end of this form. All it's now asking you to do is fill out your name, social security number. You're going to have to print this out or add, if you have Adobe, add in your signature, your digital signature here, put in date, and then if you need to be contacted, put your email address. I always put my email address and my phone number just in case I inputted a figure wrong. They can contact me and reach out and verify my information. Or let's say I missed a copy of my W-2 and 1099 form to file with the state of California. They can contact me and let me know. And that's a good thing because they might penalize you if you have that missing from your information. California also has an online form filing. So if you wanted to complete this form online, you can save it to your desktop and then upload it to their online filing system, which may be a quicker process for you too. All right, third-party designee. I don't have third-party and I don't have a firm that completed my taxes for me. So I'm just going to put this information here, my signature, date, and that's it. And then I'm going to print this out and mail it and put it in an envelope and put a stamp on it. The booklet should also have their own mailing address of where you mail that to. I'm just going to Google it and find it, but it should be at the end of your booklet here. I was trying to find it quickly, but it doesn't look like I can. So I'm just going to type it in, find the mailing address, and stick it in the mail. And that's it. And we're done with those, with the Form 540 for California. If you want, you can watch the next video that I do on filing for your Oregon taxes. Thank you.